Hello everybody, Hoofle's Cat. So I was making up my bug out back using all the videos online, and a couple of things wrong with it. First off, I couldn't put my toolkit in. Second off, my cordage and my fire started. And I don't have any food. So I think basically, as a design for a bug out bag, this is kind of, it needs to be rethought. Anyway, that's Hoofle's Cat. Au revoir, pray for me. So for bug out, what we tend to do is we tend to grab stuff like this. Doesn't weigh much on its own. But as soon as you start to accumulate stuff like this, you're out of your mind. Basic, simple, not a very good, but it's okay, sealed survival tin for fishing. Totally, you need access to this in any sort of bug out environment once you've bugged out. On the way to the bug out, this stuff should be buried in the ground. Same with most of your cordage. I recommend carrying cordage a little bit. Bug out A to B as fast as possible, lightweight. You know, you don't really need pliers on a bug out, but you really could do with them when you get there. Having the ability to sharpen axes, sharpen knives, and to maintain knives, bows, and I guess guns if you want to use them, critical. But again, this sort of stuff should be actually in the bug out. On the route to the bug out, you may be tempted to take something like this because your gun might get jammed. Again, try and think about what you're doing. Are you fighting your way to the bug out location? A lot of people are. Fire starting for a bug out. Take 1, 2 or even 3 of these. Take a tiny little ferro rod if you really must do so, but the actual objective of the bug out will be to not be seen. So most fires will be seen. You can make secretive fires and stuff like that. The objective of the bug out will be to go from A to B unobserved and not engaging anybody en route. At the bug out, you have pre-buried locations scattered all around the area of the bug out, not in the bug out, where you can actually gain supplies. So if you get there and there's people there, you don't have to engage with them. You can use the supplies that you've pre-positioned without getting spotted, and then you can decide whether to talk to them, remove yourself from the situation, or engage. Something as simple as this, buried in the ground. You would enclose it with plastic, double layered. Enclose it with plastic, double layered. Bury down 3 to 4 feet. It's a location that you can find without GPS, and if everything's been burned out. If it has not to be used, this would be stuff that you would use on arrival. If you have to carry stuff like this, that's fine. Each one of these has about 160 calories. This is about 2,000 calories. Basically a day's supply of food. You can see that without rice, without pasta, without growing things, you're going to run out of food rapidly. The weight of the bug out should be water, shelter, then food. Tools. You should not be carrying tools. Your knives won't get dull over the extent of the bug out. The knife that you carry should be thought out and careful. I would recommend whatever you like. I would have a fairly decent defensive knife, and I would have a little knife which I carry on me all the time anyway, for everyday cutting the cordage and everyday little work. I wouldn't be taking my time, I wouldn't be building camps, I would be rough camping. Now the exception to this, and it's exception to every rule, is if you have disabled or children on board your bug out. You will have to take extra supplies of food and shelter for them. The bug out will be longer. You might even want to have a pre-existing in-ground buried bug out location a third or a halfway to the actual bug out place, where they may actually stay for a few days while you go and scope out what's going on. The other exception to the minimalist bug out would be winter. In winter you really have to carry in the north, where I am, a rocket stove and fuel and a tent and sleeping system that's really good. Minimalism will just get you frozen to death in the summer, in the winter. In the summer you need mosquito nets rather than sprays. It's okay to have spray, I guess, a little tiny bottle if you have to, but the spray's going to run out and then you're going to be out of luck. So think about what you're carrying and why you're carrying it. Don't watch these exciting, interesting, convoluted videos on how to create fire kits and all the rest of it. They have no place in a bug out. A bug out is going from A to B as fast as possible. Carry a couple of these, carry a couple of boxes of matches, carry some tinder if you must. That's all you're going to need. Do you really need to carry a saw on a bug out? Probably not. Again, it depends on the area you live in. A lot of areas have not much wood. It might be a good idea to have a saw with you. But you're not really going to carry the extra blades, and you're going to carry one that's plastic and lightweight. Don't burden yourself with gear. It's not me trying to kill you. You do not need gear on a bug out. For example, burying poop. Great idea if you're going camping or if you have a camp. On a bug out? Do you need to bury poop? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think so. So that's basically it for this one. I just wanted to show you how crazy it can get. You know, these weigh a ton. Yeah, it'll keep the bugs off you until they're empty, and then what are you going to do? A lightweight mosquito net, lightweight gear to wear against bugs. That's what you should be carrying in the bug out bag. Not chemicals, not heavy weight. Fishing lures, fishing traps, all of this stuff's great when you have a camp. You should have the stuff in place before you get there. Anyway, that's all from me for now. Hoople's Cat, over and out, and au revoir. Hey everybody, Hoople's Cat. So I took my YouTube tried and trusted and recommended bug out bag and stripped it out, and I have a whole bunch of really good stuff that's really important to have in grit down and SHF and bugging out, ready to be put in boxes to be buried at friends' houses and other suitable bug out locations. So this is kind of what I've come up with. There's a few things missing on this that are in the garage and I'm too lazy to put them together right now, but I just thought I'd like to show you what I'm actually going to put in the bag, as that they seem popular. I don't know why, but it also gives you some idea of how my mind works. One could argue it's not working very well, but I think it is for me. So the basics are all here to some degree, and I think this would be pretty much all I would actually go with in the spring, summer and fall. One of my supporters, Marius, he actually mentioned waterproof trousers. Yeah, I don't actually have any, and I think he's bang on right on that. Certainly in the spring and the fall where I live, I think very good quality waterproof trousers would be an essential. Anyway, first off, my offensive armament. That's it. That's decent enough in a fight in close quarters. I don't intend to engage. I intend to run away and hide. I don't believe in engaging. Cheap pair of binoculars so I can spy people from a distance rather than engage them. A cheap pry bar so I can get into abandoned houses and cars quite easily. A little bit of wire so I can use that and found items to rig up passive warning for perimeter at night. Actually during the day. I'll be sleeping during the day and moving during the night. So that's actually it for my offensive lineup. I know you're all screaming, where's your gun, where's your gun? I'm not a big fan of guns for bugging out. I really don't think you should be fighting your way to your bug out location. If you do, you're probably going to get hit, or family members are. I don't really plan for that. I can see why in some areas of the United States you might want that. Good working gloves. You're going to be handling a lot of wood, going over rough terrain. A pair of these gloves are also warm. It's a really good idea to have them. Also, you can get these reasonably cheap online. These are good for handling heat, hot objects. That's also a really useful thing that you'll regret not having. As I showed earlier, this wouldn't be just what I would take. There'd be other stuff like oatmeal and maple syrup, low weight, high density calories. That's what I'd be taking for food. Because I planned to bug out in the winter if I have to, I wouldn't take this usually. But this is the BioLite rocket stove with the kettle on it, and I can also generate some power this way. I really wouldn't want to use this unless I absolutely had to, but it is low smoke and it would be a good idea. Remember, cooking smells will reveal where you are, so it's best probably to eat cold, and certainly a lot of products know where you can do that. I always carry this and add to as I go along. It's found items for fire starting. It's a good idea to have it in advance and then add to it. No metal spoons, non-hand carved chopsticks and spoons and a knife. It's not great. A little spoon and a fork. Kind of basic, very lightweight, really durable. All I actually would need on a bug out, so that's all I would take. I would take, yeah, it's from a pocket box. I would take one metal tin cup to go with the rocket stove. The reason being I can use this on the rocket stove without, if I only want a small drink. But I can also just pour into packets and also into this from the kettle of the rocket stove. Fire accelerant, always a good idea to carry something like that. A chapstick for my lips and also as a fire accelerant. And as I said, I would have these in various locations protected. For a bug out, I really don't know why you're planning to use a bow drill. I know. I'll take one fire steel with me. I don't need it and it weighs weight, and I would feel mentally happy having a backup to the Bics if they got so frozen I couldn't warm them with body heat, or if they broke because I fell over. It would be nice to have that. It's all I need to repair. Now this is something people don't really focus on. Needles. People buy cheap, these are just cotton actually, but people buy these. Make sure you've got really big strong needles. Like to repair a bug out pack isn't going to be that easy with a tiny little thin needle, so think on that one. Don't worry much, good idea, hopefully I won't use them. I personally want to carry a notebook. I might want to leave notes for people I want to make observations going out, or may relieve intel that I may forget exactly, but showing pictures of where other people appear to be setting up camp on the way to a bug out may come in useful, and you don't rely on memory. Really cheap matches, again protected from water, that's all I need. Now this is going to horrify people. In terms of first aid, I haven't got a little first aid kit here. I have like a little blue one that I float around. Hey Becky. I have a blue one that I float around, and I would have that in the kit. Paracetamol, Tylenol, you don't need many. A little bit of anti-diarrhea medication just because. This is really critical. Have some sort of petroleum-based or animal-based, fat-based tallow, or this cow balm's excellent as well, but it's pretty heavy. This is actually mutton. Great for fire starting, great for chafing. If you've never done endurance exercise or done forced marches, honestly, you'd be shocked at where you'll chafe and how painful it is. Nipples should be covered with a little bit of this and a bandage before you set out on any bug out. You will lose your nipples with friction. Between the groins, up your butt cheeks as well. You'll be really shocked at where you will chafe. This was free, so it's a bit of diarrhea replacing powder for electrolytes, why not? What I would also carry, which is a little bit unusual, is I would also carry Tamiflu. If I kind of need this, I need it, and if I don't have it with me on the bug out, I might regret waiting 2 days to get to the bug out location for it. Same with potassium iodide. I can't envision bugging out in high radiation times, but you never know, and this might give me a little bit of tiny protection for the thyroid, while the rest of me gets cancer and I die. Cordage. Cordage is one of those issues that people get totally carried away with. This is all I carry on a bug out, some cheap plastic cord. I would carry this as well. I can unpick this if I need to attach equipment. It's all I really need. All I'm going to need it for is to string stuff up for shelters. I would use this as a tarp and also as a poncho. I think a poncho is an excellent thing to have when you really need one. It's good. We basically plan on sleeping in an emergency shelter for the bug out, but again, like I say, for winter bug outs I do have high quality $400 tents that I would carry, and also deep sleeping systems with thick pads. But generally speaking, most of the year I won't need them. Something like this is always a good idea. Bandanas are great, but bandanas have some issues in terms of protection. This will help me give me another layer in the winter. It will also give me a smoke filter as well, which is always a great idea, but won't interfere with my glasses. The other thing this will do in a pinch, I can actually pre-filter water through this and it will dry pretty quick. So carry something like this. Bandana's fine, but something that's actually a complete unit like this is always going to be better, a tube sock basically. I would carry an emergency blanket like this because it weighs nothing. I don't really think they're any use, to be honest with you. But it might just help a little bit. It also could be used for signalling and making a shelter if you really had to. I would carry some lightweight disposable socks. Heavy socks are a good idea, but if you get wet they never dry out. Have them as well as a spare set, but a lightweight running type sock is a great thing to have. Hygiene's not impressive. Some wipes wherever you get them from so you can do a whole body bath without water. Toilet roll. Nail scissors, critical item, should be in every bug out bag, every bag you have. If your nail's getting grown or busted, if you don't have these, you're not going anywhere. Glass cleaner, I need glasses. So, hygiene is going to be pretty important. Again, I don't know necessarily if you need to be washing on a 2 to 3 day bug out, but that's there in case I need it. The actual basic hygiene kit, toilet roll, wipes, toothpaste and a small disposable toothbrush and a few other items. I'm not going to be bothered about shaving. I will be taking a whole bunch of instant coffee. I can eat these raw or I can just add water to them. There's also tea bags in here. Again, that's basically all I'm going to need on a bug out. I will take a couple of flashlights. Solar and hand crank flashlights are excellent ideas. Also a waterproof one. Again, don't go swimming with waterproof anything ever. As I said, water's kind of critical. So I'll be carrying water to start with, but I'll also be carrying it in bags like this. So if necessary I can dispose of them if I have to, but I can also contain the water inside and it will shrink over time. Because you will hopefully find items on your bug out that you will take with you. The other thing I think is really critical people don't focus on is Ziploc bags. My Ziploc bags all have water purification tablets in it, which is my main concept on a bug out, is to purify. You can also use these for sodas, you can also use them for carrying water. So I think a few of these are an excellent idea. Spare light pack or a spare bug out bag that's tiny, that fits inside with nothing in it. So you actually have redundancy in terms of if you want to leave your pack and go searching through the woods or the urban environment looking for other stuff. Don't recommend that, but have the ability to do it. Get one of these, not necessarily this make, but have at least one microfiber towel. Towels are great because you can dry off if you're very wet once you get your shelter rigged up. They can also dry off equipment and then be wrung out and they dry quickly. They're also excellent as a face protection in addition to inside of the tube sock if you're in a heavy smoke or chemical environment. They're also great for pre-filtering water. So a critical item that really should be there. So in terms of first aid, I may carry one of these Israeli bandages because I have one. I don't know. I would carry some super glue for basic suture repair and gear repair if I needed to, especially shoes. That's important. I'd carry a can opener in the hope I'd find something I could use this on the route. But like I say, I will be breaking into unoccupied buildings. You never know what you might find, so it's useful to be able to get into it without using a knife or scratching the tin on concrete. A lot easier to have one of these. Basic food supplies will be non-heated stuff that will be freeze-dried in case I've got the ability. But carry a lot of this stuff. You can get these at running stores. These are basically sugar gels. Have some dry bars, stuff like that. The calorie burn will be huge on a bug out for me because I'm going fast at night. I'm going to carry one of these. I think they're kind of a waste of money. For a bug out, I think you're much better off carrying tablets and just doing that and waiting half an hour. I'll probably carry it anyway just because it's lightweight. I will set off with one of these, a spare Nalgene bottle. The reason I haven't gone with stainless steel for the bug out is weight. I have the ability to boil water in a tin cup. I also can boil water in the kettle pot. I can use both of them on open fire, though I cannot imagine why I'd need to, but I carry this. Now inside of this, there's a bunch of lifeboat water packages for when I can't be bothered. I need water quickly, but I don't want to make any noise or put any preparation time. It also has additional water purification tablets in it. So that's really it. What I would do is I would travel during the nighttime hours. I would plan about an hour or two before dawn to hide up somewhere that doesn't appear to have traffic or visibility, and I would sit there and be silent. If I wanted to cook a meal, I will cook a meal probably away from my original campsite. I'll probably travel 2 to 3 miles, stop, cook, then travel again as rapidly as possible. I think you need to be aware of the fact that leaving debris behind is a telltale sign of where you've been. So you need to be able to bury stuff. Burning stuff makes a lot of smell. So I think burying may be the way to go, but that's up to the individual and depends on the conditions. So I hope you get something out of this. My sleeping bag and my sleeping system is worth a separate video. Winter's going to be brutal. And the first layer of that is what you're actually going to be wearing. The second layer is the sleeping bag. The third layer is the ground protection, which should be at least this thick in the deep winter. And you really probably do need to carry a tent. Most places, most of the year, this is all you're going to need. Stay dressed, stay ready for combat, stay ready to run off. You don't really want to be sleeping. Consider sleeping during the day, consider moving during the night. This will be slower and more dangerous in a lot of respects, but it's worth the extra security bonus in my opinion. Anyway, that's all for me. Au revoir, people's cat, over and out. Toodaloo.